Good morning. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court criminal docket for September 27th, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Marufo, will you call our next case, please?
Bottom of page 8, Judge, in cause number 2021-0D02928, State of Texas versus.
Stop. Is Ms. Hugendorm in the waiting room?
She's joining, Judge.
Please bring her in.
Judge, may I give you an update while we're waiting?
No, not yet.
She's still trying to log in. Do you want to go on to the next case, Judge?
What is the issue? I see that she's joining. What's the issue?
I think she's having technical difficulties, Judge.
Are you able to see her?
I see her and it says joining, trying to join.
Were you able to address her earlier?
Yes, ma'am. And she said she was gonna stick around.
So when defendants are here for their hearings, I like for them to be present during the hearing, and it seems to always fall by the wayside. Mr. Montes, we're going to try and see if your client can log in. Let's go on to the next case.
Top of page 9, Judge. In cause number 2015-0D03205, State of Texas versus Luis Avila. Announcement of counsel, please.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is the interpreter for Mr. Avila.
Your Honor, this is Victor Serrano. Mr. Avila is here with me, Your Honor, right beside me. That's him.
And does your client require the assistance of an interpreter?
Necesita intérprete.
Pues sí entiendo, nomás que no lo hablo muy bien.
Your Honor, it would be kind of difficult since
Yeah.
he's here, but he cannot have a phone. That's the problem, Judge.
Is there another computer in
Or
your
a
office?
computer, I mean.
Is there another computer in the office you can
I'll
utilize?
do that. Yes, Judge, I think I can do that. I can certainly do that. May
Okay.
I, what I'll do is I'll leave this one with him and then I'll log on into the next one, Judge.
Okay.
And I'll mute him.
While they set up, let's go to the next case.
In cause number 2019-0D05130, State of Texas versus Adrian Nunez. Announcement of counsel, please.
Samantha
So
Rogg.
stop for purposes of the record. It is 2017-0D05130. Go ahead, Ms. Robin.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Manuel Parra, Your Honor, on behalf of Mr. Nunez, also ready.
Mr. Parra, I need you to turn on your camera. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Nunez is appearing remotely. This hearing was reset from last week as a probation status hearing. Mr. Parra, we did not have you appear last week, so we rescheduled it this week. Do we have probation? I know Mr. Eras is the supervising officer. Ms. Pineda, are you or Mr. Eras going to cover this?
I'm covering you.
Okay, so can you go ahead and give me the extent of the issue that probation is having with Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, with Mr. Nunez, what happened is we're still, as per probation officer, he's still lacking to work community service. He is apparently attending treatment. However, to date, since March, there is no confirmation through probation that he is attending. But that was from in the last couple of months. don't have indications that he's failed to report. He finished TAP back in 2019, but he was dropped. So then he's attending this new program on his own with a new provider, which is the one I was referring to where probation hasn't confirmed his attendance. Family violence has been completed and he does have 100 hours of community service, which he hasn't worked.
So it seems like the ongoing issue, I'm looking at the email from Officer Eras, is that although Mr. Nunez is reporting, when I've asked him why he hasn't been working on his hours, he says he's busy working or he's out at the gym in evenings and he plays soccer 2 times a week. He's had plenty of time to work on his hours and he chooses not to. That is one thing. The other issue is, yes, this has been an ongoing issue with the confirmation of the counseling. Why we're not receiving that, I believe I'd addressed Mr. Nunez, Mr. Parra, you were here, about getting or assisting to get that coordinated. Clearly, probation is not satisfied, Mr. Parra, with your client's performance. And I understand these might not be, what would I call capital violations, so to speak, on probation, but he simply is not addressing the concerns or the requests from his probation officer. So that's an issue for me. We can't have Mr. Nunez just ignoring the request to confirm the counseling appointments, and he's not complying with his community service. Mr. Parra, do you know what's going on here?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
Okay, so Mr. Nunez, have you spoken to your attorney? Have you provided any of this information to probation?
I did. I actually spoke to Mr. Eras. I think it was yesterday afternoon, and we went over the emails, and I did send a sheet that my psychiatrist provided in June. He even confirmed he got the one in June, and I told him I had an appointment on Thursday, this Thursday, which is tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow. And he said when I was there at the office, since this is the first time I'm gonna visit in the office, to go ahead and call him from there so he could speak to the psychiatrist. And about the community service hours, I have no excuse, ma'am. I have been failing with the hours. But the psychiatrist, I did provide via email to Mr. Eras the paper that I've been attending to with Ms. Laura Houston from Atlantis Healthcare Services, ma'am.
Okay, I don't see anything. In fact, I don't believe that this has even been requested by probation to be an admonishment. So I'm not sure what probation is asking the court to do when all the recommendation here is to continue on community supervision. From my perspective, Mr. Nunez, if I get another complaint from Mr. Eras, and so you can explain this to your client, Mr. Parra, technically he has not completed any of the community supervision. I don't think he's putting forth a great effort. Your client has communicated as much to the court. If I receive another complaint on any compliance, you can expect a jail commitment to see if I can get your attention, Mr. Nunez. There is no reason why your probation officer should have to repeatedly be reaching out to the court to get you to do very basic things, something that apparently you were able to do very quickly. Mr. Parra, please explain that to your client. I am not going to set him for any more hearings, being that I'm not probation is not asking for anything, but it is in my records in terms of his compliance or non-compliance. So if we see any more of this, there will be a sanction. I will require that Mr. Nunez come back in 60 days, and there better be some work on the community service hours. If I don't see significant work on community service, again, you can expect a sanction, Mr. Nunez. Okay?
Ma'am, I have done community service hours at Ascarate Park. I mean, not a lot, but I have done at least 10 hours there, and I don't think they put him in the system. I have gone Sundays.
Well, you need to get with your probation officer on that. I will need more than 10 hours over the course of your supervision.
Understood.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Parra.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll talk, sir. Okay.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
You all are excused. Who's next?
I believe Ms. Huckendorf is there.
Let's go ahead and call it.
In cause number 2021-0D02928, State of Texas versus Kim Huckendorf. Announcement of council, please.
Samantha Rock on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jose Montes for Kim Hugendorn. We're ready.
And Ms. Hugendorf is appearing remotely as well. This is a reset of the final hearing plea deadline. My understanding is we already have a plea technically ready. However, I understand there are some difficulties in having Ms. Hugendorf appear. Mr. Montes, what have you made in terms of arrangements to get that set?
Your Honor, Ms. Hugendorf has been very sick. She's had a lot of doctor's appointments. As the court is aware, she had her leg amputated, but she's diligent in keeping in contact with my office. We're trying to get her in today or tomorrow.
Okay, and I understand you'll get her into your office, but how are we going to accomplish the plea?
She will obtain transportation to the police center if that's agreeable.
I'm absolutely fine with whatever is the easiest for Ms. Hugendorf to do, as long as it is, compliant with what we need to do. But I need a date, and that's what I was hoping we would have today.
Your Honor, may I speak to her and get back to the court?
That's why we were here today. And so,
Ms. Hugendorf, can you put on your mic?
if you'd like to speak with her privately, I'd rather not do that while we're on YouTube and while we have everyone here and can hear. So if you will communicate with her, but let us know before the lunch hour what we're looking at. Okay. So
Thank you, Judge. We'll do that right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Up on page 9, Judge.
Go ahead.
In cause number 2015-0D03205, State of Texas versus Luis Avila. Announcement of council, please.
Samantha Rock on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Victor Serrano on behalf of the defendant, Your Honor. We are ready with with 2 computers. We just need the interpretation globe to be.
Okay, so we can go ahead and get that set up. I believe, Mr. Serrano, you're going to have to, if you're using a separate device as your client, that you're going to have to kind of create some distance, because if not, you get some kind of feedback. Okay.
Yes, Judge. All I'm doing is just so he doesn't know how to use the computer, so all I'm doing is the interpretation.
Okay,
But I'm gonna go
so
to another place.
let's go ahead and get that started.
Thank you, Judge.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Your Honor, this is Officer Ramos from Adult Probation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thanks.
Sí.
If everyone who is participating that needs the English, please select the English channel. Okay. If all the other participants will select English, please.
Okay, Judge, I'm ready.
I can hear you. Ms. Ramos,
Here, Your Honor.
if you'll select English, please. Are you on the English channel, Ms. Ramos?
I am trying, Your Honor. There, Your Honor.
Okay. Calling cause number 2015-0D03205, State of Texas versus Luis Avila. May I have announcements, please?
Samantha Rock on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Victor Serrano on behalf of defendant, Your Honor, ready.
And
Officer
Mr.
Ramos from Adult Probation.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. For purposes of the record, Mr. Serrano is also appearing remotely from his attorney's office and utilizing the assistance of a court interpreter, Ms. Leonor Santos. We are scheduled for a bond hearing. Mr. Serrano, you may proceed.
Your Honor, actually, what we have is a request for a modification of supervised probation, Your Honor, or community supervision.
Understood.
Okay, Mr. Avila, Your Honor, has suffered from benign, in this case, prostate cancer. He requires treatment and he needs to go. His doctor is in Mexico. He had been attending the same physician for a few years, Your Honor. However, lately he was denied the ability to go and visit the same doctor. So we asked the court to consider allowing him to go visit with his doctor and continue his treatment for cancer, Your Honor. Also, Your Honor, we're not too sure where we stand as far as his community supervision.
we know he has completed all his community service and is up to date on his counseling, but we just don't know exactly where we stand. We tried a couple of times to reach Ms. Ramos, and we were unable to get a hold of Ms. Ramos. So that's the reason we filed also a motion to terminate if that's a possibility. We don't know where we're at right now.
I think I would. Let me mute here. I don't know if that'll be helpful. Ms. Ramos, is this one we've gone back and forth on? Is this one where we have tried to verify the medical provider in Mexico and have been unable to do that? In fact, I don't recall ever seeing anything on any of these medical excuses or reasons to want to go into Mexico to indicate anything about cancer treatment. The court is of utmost concern about the complainants. If my understanding is correct, he has either as a partner or an ex-partner who has children. The complainant may also live in Juarez, in Ciudad Juarez. And so I don't ever, Mr. Serrano, recall the request being in the nature of some type of cancer treatment. In any event, whatever he has provided has not been verifiable by probation. This is one we've gone back and forth on quite a bit.
Yes,
So
Judge.
do we
Your
have?
Honor, if I may, this is a case that was with a previous probation officer who again gave him permission to go. The previous probation officer had allowed him to travel to Mexico because he said he had cancer. That's why the officer allowed that travel.
So let me stop you right there. Does anything in your file reflect that? Any documentation? So it's just based on Mr. Avila's word.
After our last hearing in June, Your Honor, I confronted him about cancer. Because if you recall the doctor's notes, I think it's only like high blood pressure or it's something super minimal. And he said he never had cancer. I don't know where that came into place. I still haven't been able to verify, Your Honor. On that summary that I sent you, he's brought me several letters, again, same number. What I take it super suspicious, Your Honor, is that one time Mr. Avila offered to have the clinic change their number in order for me to be able to verify. I did confront him and I told him I don't know what kind of power he has to make a whole clinic change a phone number, a business phone number, just for his needs. Again, I do not feel comfortable, Your Honor, because that clinic has never been verified.
Mr.
Your Honor, I have a letter again from Mr. Avila dated June the 28th of 2022. I do not know if that's the one where Ms. Ramos was provided that information. It's from Clínica Reyes. I do not know if you have it, but in this letter, this physician does state that he is receiving some sort of treatment for cancer, prostate cancer. It's in Spanish. We can provide it to Ms. Ramos, Your Honor.
Okay.
I do not know if Ms. Ramos has it.
I have no letters, the word cancer on, Your Honor.
I have Clínica Reyes.
Yes.
This is, let me see, I don't believe it's dated. I'm sorry, this is May 21st.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. The one I have is from June the 28th of this year.
Okay. June, I'm sorry, what was that?
June 28th?
Yeah, I don't know if I have another one. I'm pulling up all the emails and the first one I'm seeing is May 21st. So
Yes,
if it's the same information, if it comes from the same place,
yes,
which I've shown as having like a letterhead, I'm not even sure this is a letterhead of Clínica Reyes, Cirugía, Internamientos, Partos, Consulta General.
Yes, ma'am.
There's the number of 610-4153. Ms. Ramos, is that the one that you've been contacting and they don't answer?
He has given me two extra numbers, Your Honor, and none of them, every time I call, they answer bueno. They don't answer Clínica Reyes or whatever their thing is. One time I called and they said when Mr. Avila was present, I called and the guy that answered said, "¿Qué pasó? I'm at the pharmacy."
Yeah.
Uh,
No.
it was
Mr.
just-
Serrano, unless there's an
Yes, ma'am.
additional contact information that is verifiable, and I mean really verifiable, none of this, I can give you another number. Do you know how suspect that sounds to the court at this time? That he's just handing out other numbers and people are answering very casually?
I
The
understand, Your Honor.
request, based on that, unless you have more information, the request is denied. There will be no modification at this time. Probation has also assisted him in trying to coordinate, if I'm not mistaken, for treatment, need-based treatment here in El Paso. Was that something that was done in the past, Ms. Ramos? I think I saw something about La Fe or some other treatment.
Your Honor,
provider.
I think after the hearing is when we started looking into La Fe, Clínica San Vicente. They're just different programs, Your Honor, where I have told my client that I have other probationers that have low income medical care through those kind of clinics. He has never brought me, I've told him to talk to social workers, go to the hospital, to the emergency room, ask for social workers. They will not deny treatment for him. And there's nothing, I've asked him for business cards of people who he's talked to. He has never provided anything. He did bring me a hospital letter where he went to the ER. And it only says for him to continue treatment in Mexico. When Mr. Avila said that, he said, I went to the hospital, to the emergency room. I took all my documentations from Mexico. And they said, he said, my probation officer is not allowing me to go. So therefore the medical personnel told him, well, then go to Mexico and get your treatment. Your Honor, I find it hard to believe that they would deny him treatment, especially because he claims of pain, like crucial pain. I only have that one medical note. I've told them to try different hospitals and there's nothing, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramos, is that the one dated from July the 30th?
Probably. I do have the letter here from June 28th from the
Yes.
doctor from Mexico. And again, I don't see, it is in Spanish. I don't see nothing.
Is that the
says he
same,
has
is that the,
UTIs.
Ms. Ramos, is that the same provider? Or is it a different provider?
It's the same one, Your Honor.
And did you call to verify anything with respect to that and speak to that treating?
No, it's the same numbers. It's the same numbers where they answer, bueno.
Well, Your Honor, the one that I have here, the one from June, it has a different number. It's 656-144-1140. Whereas the other one is 610-4153.
So I'll, at this time, the request is denied. If you have some additional information that through your client wants to provide to probation and you want to file something else, you can do that. I am not inclined to either change any condition. Actually, does he have any type of monitor on him?
No, Your Honor.
I am going to order that he now have some type of GPS monitor on him, whether that is accomplished through just a straight up GPS monitor, or if he gets an alcohol monitor that has the GPS capabilities. That is going to be a modification and he is going to be ordered to have that. He must have it within 14 days.
I understand, Your Honor. We'll let him. And in
Okay.
the meantime, I'll try to obtain the information the court needs to allow us to be modified.
Ándale, pues. Thank you very
Your
much.
Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor,
Miss-
if I may, he was dropped from treatment. On the modifications that the attorney provided, it says that he completed or he's in compliance with treatment. He's not.
Why
was
are
dropped.
we not revoking him at this point? Honestly, if he's not compliant with treatment and all he seems to be doing is trying to go to Juarez, I'm not really understanding how he's compliant with probation.
Your Honor, if I might, I think the counseling was just recent, perhaps within the last couple of weeks. Am I right, Ms. Ramos?
September
But everything
22nd.
else is complied with.
You know, if he's not compliant, let's get a process going. Why are we messing around with this? I don't know that he's ever been compliant. So what are we set? We're just set for this hearing?
That's correct.
I want a probation status in 30 days. Quite honestly, unless he's compliant, I expect to see a bench warrant.
I understand. I will let him know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
You may.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Does anybody else require the assistance of Ms. Santos? All right, if not, then can we please remove the interpreter function? And Ms. Santos, thank you for your assistance. Who's
Thank
left?
you, Your Honor.
Ms. Salcedo's joining. Middle of page 9, Judge.
Okay.
In cause number 2020-0D0-6483, State of Texas versus Monica E. Diaz Salcedo. Announcement of council, please.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Carl DeCoste for Monica Salcedo, ready, Your Honor.
And Ms. Salcedo is appearing remotely as well for today's probation status hearing. I have no prior court history on Ms. Salcedo. She was allowed to transfer to Ector County. She reports monthly as directed, low risk, no problems. We have not received an updated report. Why was this just a kind of standard hearing that was set, Carla? Because other than that, I just see that Ms. Salcedo is compliant.
Your Honor, I also inquired with the probation officer and with the interstate office,
Mhm.
but I believe it's more towards possibly Mr. DeCote's
Oh,
Yeah.
he's-
wanting
What's
some
going
kind of
on?
hearing.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may. I hope
Yes,
you're
sir.
having. Ms. Salcedo works for a pilot company, which I think means that, you know, when there's a car in front and a car behind a wide load, you know, she has to go out of state sometimes, or she's hoping to go out of state. And we
Mhm.
just address you and ask for permission for her to go out of state. I think she's doing okay on probation. That's really the only issue we got.
Okay. With that, what I will ask probation to do is just verify with an updated report that she continues to be compliant. I really don't see any impediment to allowing her to do that other than this, Ms. Salcedo, so you understand. For all work purposes, she will be allowed to travel. The work that you need to do on your end, Ms. Salcedo, is to ahead of time inform probation of what that work schedule is. So I don't want a situation where they're telling you one day to the next. Is that what happens at your job, or what is it?
Yes, ma'am. They usually tell me like 2 days in advance at most.
Okay, so we'll operate with that. Just know that your responsibility, no matter what the turnaround time is to communicate to probation when you have to be out of town for work and how long you will be out of town. In other words, if you know you have to go and that's going to be a 1 day, whatever, 2-day thing, you need to tell them that. I don't care if it's in a voicemail. Honestly, I would get your probation officer's email and I would send an email, because that way you have documentation that you're letting them know, because God forbid something happens and you're not in compliance and you've notified them. I don't want them coming back and telling me, no, she never let us know. I don't want to hear I called and nobody answered. She wasn't there, whatever. You send an email. Okay. She will have that permission, Mr. DeCotes, as long as she is employed there. She will also, even if she changes her job, and if there is another concern, for all work purposes, you will be allowed to travel. Don't give me a reason to pull that away from you. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
I don't believe so. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Same to you. Is there anything else for the Zoom hearings today?
No, Judge.